When I'm with knowledge people, I always think what they're doing is so valuable and so interesting. But when I see companies from the company point of view, and a lot of times I work at pretty high levels in companies, I see knowledge as being largely underappreciated, underutilized, under-resourced, under-budgeted, underfunded, underpaid, and generally under the radar, not on organization charts in all cases, not in financial statements. I think that's a big problem I identified in my book, the fact that GAAP accounting doesn't really take account of knowledge. So executives don't seem to have it top of mind in a lot of cases in the senior leadership. And that's kind of what I'm trying to correct. That's kind of what I'm trying to right that underestimation or undervaluation of knowledge. And how I approach that is that knowledge is an economic transaction. I don't think this comes as a big shock to anybody, but it's sometimes not top of mind for knowledge people who get very involved in technologies and techniques and tools and forget that they're part of a of an economic transaction. When you're an independent contractor, as I am, you realize this in spades because you end up selling your knowledge and literally putting your knowledge out there for consumption. So the idea of the value of knowledge becomes extremely important as a consultant or as an independent provider of knowledge. But even as an internal, say, staff person in a knowledge management group, let's say in a company, you're really in an economic relationship. You're exchanging knowledge and your knowledge products for a demand. So there's a supply side as in any economic transaction, and a demand side. There are the producers. Most of the people probably on this call and in this conference are supply side, what I call producers. And the demand side are our clients, our users, our sponsors. And this exchange happens between those sides. So there are a number of impediments to the value of knowledge, and some of those are systemic and institutional, which I address in the book, but I won't really address those here. Those are beyond the scope of what we in this room can do. But the things that we can address, I think, are really three primary things that we'll talk about and focus on. Is that one is that senior leaders, our senior enterprise leaders, may give lip service to being a knowledge culture or a knowledge organization, but they don't really get knowledge at a very deep level, the value of knowledge, that is. The second related problem is knowledge professionals. When I've taught very smart people, say Columbia University, they understand very clearly what they're doing with the tools and techniques of knowledge management. But I challenge them, and often they don't really understand the value. What is the economic value in terms of the enterprise of what they're doing? So the combination really is that knowledge professionals, even if they do realize what the value is in terms of the enterprise, sometimes they don't communicate that effectively. They don't effectively sell the value of knowledge for the reasons that they don't know how to, or they're embarrassed to, or whatever kind of reasons.